It's slimy and sticky. And goes on people's faces.
Ireland, put your pants on. What are you doing? Hi there. Welcome back to Three Historians Walk Into a Bar. My name's Daniel.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Ireland.
And today we have a special guest in Eden Ayala.
Yay!
Yay! Eden is an early childhood education major at our school and is very passionate about LGBTQ rights and more specifically trans activism. And with that being said, our topic for today is going to be LGBTQ history, and Daniel, and we're going to focus on like sports and LGBTQ athletes.
I'm going to focus more on policy decisions leading up to the present.
I'm going to talk about the Stonewall riots and then also some of the first documented use of they-them pronouns in Europe specifically.
And then Eden did some research on the Compton cafeteria riots, which were West Coast riots that were very similar to Stonewall and preceded Stonewall, but don't have anywhere as much notoriety, as well as doing a little bit of research on Marsha P. Johnson, who is a massive trans rights activist throughout the 70s and 80s, and whose legacy speaks for herself.
Okay, to start off, fun fact that I learned in one of my classes, guys, was one of the first uses of they-them pronouns in, not in, history, but for me, it's one of the funniest first uses. So, back pre-French Revolution, a little bit post-French Revolution, when guys would be sent to war and then they would be little chickens and run away, they'd be like, oh, we gotta shame you now, right?
Okay.
And so what they would do is they would make them dress up in women's clothes and walk around and use she, her pronouns as, an embarrassment thing on the streets.
Interesting.
And then women were like, actually, that's not a punishment. Actually, that's really offensive to women. And so they were like, fine, God, they still have to wear dresses, but we'll say they, them instead. So now these soldiers are wearing dresses, walking around, going by they, them pronouns as a way to shame them for running away from the battlefields.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that
That's
hilarious?
great. Wow. I mean, not great. That's horrible, but...
No, it's horrible, but
yeah.
It's freaking hilarious.
Wow.
Also funny, good for women for being like, hey guys, let's not make fun of us. And then they
Right?
listened.
And they listened, because,
Yeah.
the history of France is not very good at listening to women.
No.
And in the 1800s,
I was going to
Right?
say, especially post-French Revolution, if
Because
there
that's
was...
1700s.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought that was hilarious when I found out. I said, hee hee hee.
That was good. I like the sigh.
I always do it. When it gets awkward, then I'm always like, anyway.
It sounded like you're fawning over they, them pronouns.
What a good historical fact.
Oh gosh, I'm just so cool.
Oh my god, those soldiers, how silly of them. Okay, so the Stonewall riots was transgender / LGBTQ plus fight back for one of the first times in documented history. It was the first time they asserted themselves. The Stonewall Inn was an Italian family restaurant until it caught fire. Then after that it became a gay bar that the mafia ran. Fun fact. And they just had people pay cover fees, and they would come in and they had a safe place. The mafia would pay off the police when they came in about once a month, take bribes from the mafia and then leave, says my notes. But then suddenly one day they came back and the new sheriff actually wanted to arrest people, which hadn't happened previously. So on June 28th, 1969, trans folks started to throw things and fight back at the police because they felt violated. It was a 6-night fight. It was not the first conflict between police and LGBTQ plus folks, but it was a shift in activism. And it was one of the first times that the different parts of the LGBTQ community joined in to help each other. It was very divided previously, like, trans community for trans community, bi community for bi community, whatever. But it really was a time for everyone to come back. And the reason we know so much about this is because the press originally never covered LGBTQ plus stuff, but they covered the bar raids. Or they never covered the bar raids, but they covered this one. And one of the first newspapers about this said, "Homo nest raided, queen bees are stinging mad." So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was it like a crime to be gay, or what was the justification for the police? Was it just purely...
So can I?
Yeah.
So one of the crimes, quote unquote, was cross-dressing.
Okay.
And that if you were a man, wearing women's clothes. Like, I was reading something that Marsha P. Johnson was arrested at one point because she was wearing a blouse or a shirt that had a different kind of button set up that is for a
where was
woman's
the other
shirt,
side?
and then rather than a men's shirt, and she was arrested for that.
Yeah.
She was detained for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
since they didn't believe in, like, transgender people, like, it was just cross-dressing to them.
interesting.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that cross-dressing is a crime.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like, I know, like,
Especially when we talk about the France guys. We're like, they, them now.
Yeah.
But
well, it's because I know, like, sodomy's kind of been persecuted as a crime, so that's why I didn't know what the justification was, or if they were simply just going, because y'all are gay, and that...
Well, yeah,
it
and they
goes against
also
what we
just didn't
think.
like... They didn't like same-sex relationships
Yeah.
in general. But that's just, like, homophobic history.
So is the mob progressive?
Good question. Is the mob progressive, or did the mob see a group of patrons who they could get money out of?
So, like every company today?
I was gonna say.
I think it was more about the money.
Okay.
I
didn't know if
it
it was,
has
like...
less to do with
Interesting.
we're gonna give these people a safe place to be, and more we're going to get money out of these people by giving them this space.
That makes sense. I didn't know. Yeah.
And in history, like in the 1920s, like the mafia was really big for helping people have secret establishments in the beginning just for money. So it makes sense
like
that it would continue.
speakeasies.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would make sense that it would just continue into the 60s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know if they were like, let's fight for this
Yeah.
younger man. Yeah. But yeah.
And then, I mean, on the other side of the country, because Stonewall happened in New York.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the country, in San Francisco, you have the Compton's cafeteria riot, which happened 3 years earlier in 1966. And it was a response to police harassing trans women and drag queens. And it was one of the first LGBTQ related uprisings, quote unquote, and it predates Stonewall, but we don't really talk about it as much, and I wonder why.
What kind of coverage should it have? Do you know? Because the reason we know so much about the Stonewall Inn is because newspapers started really posting about it, and
That's
it became
true.
big. I wonder if it didn't have any news coverage for people to not...
Right.
Because, I mean, if they don't see it, they don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because as Eden and I were doing the research for today's episode, we came across a documentary about one of the survivors and witnesses from that riot, excuse me. And she, I think her name is Donna Persona. She basically, she puts on a show where like people can come in and like sit at like a bar or sit like at a diner or whatever, and they have actors playing cops, playing trans people, or they have trans actors playing people, but it's basically sit in this diner and experience the experience of the Compton cafeteria riots. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And it was mainly like forgotten about until a 2005 documentary by historian Susan Stryker called Screaming Queens. It basically talks about the event and what happened. I mean, it all started, and you could see it in the show that Mrs. Persona puts on It started when a patron threw hot coffee in a cop's face after being harassed. And they ended up smashing windows and damaging a police car. And the cafeteria was eventually closed in 1972.
You know, another thing is interesting with that, like with the, because we mentioned the cross-dressing thing and stuff, is like, historically, they didn't want women in plays and stuff, so then men played the women.
Right.
So literally, cross-dressing, quote-unquote, has existed for, like, forever.
Yeah, like Shakespearean plays.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Literally, Shakespeare played a woman in a
Yeah.
play or two. Like, you know what I mean? So, the way that times change are so freaking silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not necessarily how times change that are silly. I think it's more how people consistently pick and choose what they want to align with.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, cross-dressing in Shakespearean times was probably super normal.
For a little bit. And then they were like, if you're a thespian, you're going to H-E double hockey stick, you dumb silly goose.
Right.
So, I get whiplash thinking about theater history. Like, literally, it's so back and forth.
Yeah. But just sort of while we're talking about these riots, and I wanted to touch a little bit on Stonewall for a second, more specifically Marsha P. Johnson, just sort of talk about who she was and the impact that she had on her community. So Johnson and Sylvia Rivera are two of the most prominent LGBTQ activists in American history. There are conflicting records regarding Johnson's involvement with Stonewall. Some say that she incited the violence by, quote-unquote, throwing the first brick. Or some say that she threw a shot glass against the bar, which caused a commotion. While other people insist that she just wasn't at the event at all.
Mm-hmm.
But in a 1987 interview, she stated that she hadn't arrived at Stonewall until the event was already occurring.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the events are pretty conflicting. But just some things I wanted to point out. I think that, so I don't know if you know what the P in Marsha P. Johnson stands for. It stands for Pay It No Mind, which is kind of a dig at her adversaries, basically saying, mind your damn business, which is awesome.
Goes hard.
I love that.
No,
and she and Rivera started the program called START, S-T-A-R-T, which
I thought it was
stands...
just Star.
Oh,
Yeah,
STAR?
there's no T at the
Sorry,
end.
my bad. STAR, which is Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. And what this program did was it clothed, housed, fed, and advocated for LGBTQ youth. Unfortunately, Marsha P. Johnson was allegedly killed. It's a little murky. Her body was found in the Hudson River in 1992. It was ruled by the police to be a suicide, but witnesses say that there were homophobic assailants that attacked her and sent her body into the river.
I'm more leaning that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like the police would have ever investigated
Right.
it based on
The police were like,
what she stood
bummer.
for. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh no, how could this have happened?
It was probably the police.
It might have been.
Be real.
Not that we're making any
that's not
accusations.
For legal reasons, that is a joke.
funny. For legal reasons, this is a podcast with a little bit of humor.
Well, and then there was that documentary following the woman who was investigating the cold case, because the case
Right.
went cold, and
Right.
she was looking into the idea of it being a murder, and the police were still, all these years after, trying to push her away.
That's so crazy. Just trying to keep the case closed
Mhm.
instead of, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
asking if she was a PI and saying, if you're not a PI, keep out of it.
Corruption.
Yeah, corruption. It's crazy. I think one more thing about Stonewall, and then we'll move on. During the riots, in order to sort of push the police back, the patrons of Stonewall created a Kicking Rockettes line.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Yep. Started and doing like those kicks to keep
it's
the
like
cops away.
when your siblings chasing you and you like start kicking to get
Yeah,
them away.
you
like,
get on your back and you start.
That's so funny.
And then they say no kicking, that's cheating.
Yes,
and then
literally. The police are like, no, that's not fair.
No, stop! What are you doing?
That's crazy. That's
It's like we can't.
But
fight
also,
that.
like, that's the funny. Like,
it's the funniest thing of all time.
Like
how? Sorry, I'm interrupting
if someone came up with that as like a plot in a book, it would feel fake.
It's the dance line.
Yeah, no, I know. It's the kicking the dance.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Why are you talking about being on the floor?
No,
oh no,
I'm
we
saying
were
no,
talking about the
when,
sibling thing.
Yeah, when your siblings come and you're like fighting with your siblings.
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say, what does it say about we don't respect your authority that we're standing in front of you and kicking, like doing dances and kicks to like
it's
you.
So iconic.
It is so iconic. You have no authority over me. I'm gonna dance in front of you, and you can't get past me.
It's giving. Let's have a dance battle.
No,
like,
for
right
real.
here, right now.
Yeah.
Winner gets the bar.
It's so funny. It's end of like a movie plot.
Yeah, it's like Teen Beach Movie, but like.
But Stonewall, you don't stop the music.
They're like kick lining at him. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh.
And I will say, the 1-year anniversary of Stonewall, and I'm sorry I keep rambling on about it.
It's okay. This is fun.
Thousands of people marched from the bar to Central Park, which became known as Christopher Street Liberation Day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is widely regarded as the first Pride Parade in American history.
I did know that, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not
you feel
know
a little
that.
left out?
So is that where, like, to this day, the Pride Parade goes down that route, or?
I'm sure in New York it does.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
because I know in San Francisco I've been to it a few times, and I need to take you to it in San Francisco. Sorry, that was no one can see that. No one knows who I'm talking to. I invited one person.
One of us.
I went to Denver Pride for the first time this year. Guys.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm curious. I don't know if Denver's Pride Parade like has a route specifically related to.
Nothing like specific.
That's why I was curious
I
on
don't
New York.
I don't know if San Francisco does. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, because San Francisco was like one of the first major safe hubs for LGBTQ people in the country. But I off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah. Talking about policy, and specifically related to gay and lesbian relationships. That's how. What?
Sorry.
Specifically related to gay.
Yeah, that
Well,
not specifically related to gay.
Well,
Okay, start.
Court cases. We're talking about history of policy. So Georgia had a sodomy law, and in 1986, it was Bowers v. Hardwick. It was upheld. So they were like, nope, this is a legal law, and we're not going to change that. In 1998, Matthew Shepard was a 21-year-old student at University of Wyoming up in Laramie, and he was attacked and tied to a fence.
Oh my god.
And left to die because he was gay. Like,
Wow.
super awful, actually awful. He died a couple days later. Like, it took a little bit for him to, just from his wounds.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah,
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah, it was awful.
And
This
it was explicitly stated that it was because he was gay.
yeah, very notorious anti-gay hate crime, like specifically targeted because he was a gay man, which is just awful.
Yeah.
And back to policy. In 2003, Lawrence v. Texas, which was Kansas, ruled that actually outlawing, sodomy, so specifically relating to sex. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the podcast, probably.
Yeah,
Right? So,
I think it's fine.
yeah, gay or lesbian sex was now allowed, and you could not create laws based on that.
Period.
In 2008, California, one of the most progressive states nowadays,
Yep.
declared that marriage is only between a man and a woman in November of 2008.
Yep.
Boo.
So, like, it just shows how crazy it's changed since then. But like, this is so recent. Like, and then
And to think that gay marriage only became federally legal 10 years ago, in 2015.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Obergefell v. Hodges. What's the?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can
Yeah.
look it up.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, I think that's it.
I don't know about you guys, but when it was passed, seeing like videos of really old couples like who had been together for a really long time finally like get married because it was finally legalized. Ugh, fills my heart. It fills my heart.
Do you guys ever see cute like stories about like the lavender couples or whatever? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So lavender couples are like when either like it can be like a gay man and a straight woman get married just so that he can be safe, or a lesbian and a gay man get married so that they both have the freedoms. There's like a lot of couples nowadays that are like talking about the fact that they were a lavender couple and that they married for safety but were able to live their lives the way they wanted. And I think it's so sweetie petite. And there was one that like started a whole family together. They like adopted together. It was a lesbian and a gay man. They adopted, but they had their own lives separate. And they have this big old family now from their lavender marriage.
That's
and I thought
so
it was so
sweet.
sweet. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're all good. Yeah, but a lot of the laws like were passed in specific states, so other states didn't have to honor them. That was upheld in court also.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Obviously not in 2015 when it became federally legal. But just crazy how like marriage licenses are like supposed to always be honored, but the states that didn't have that in place just didn't have to, which is crazy. The just the restriction.
Yeah, and I mean, and I mean, we all have heard stories, and especially Ireland, you being from Colorado, I'm sure have heard of the baker.
I was waiting to bring that up too, because as soon as we started talking about that, I was like, I wonder if we're going to talk about that one bakery guy.
Do you want to talk about it?
I don't know the name of it at all, but I remember when it was released because it was from Colorado.
Yeah.
And it was like this gay couple wanted to get their wedding cake from this bakery, and he, I think he was a guy.
Yeah.
He was like, no, you're gay. And like, I don't have to serve you in my bakery because it's my bakery and it's my choice. And it went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Jack Phillips was his name.
Yeah, he was like, I have the right to refuse service to anyone. But it was refusing service based on, like, I think it violated the 14th Amendment?
Yeah, the equal protection.
Equal protection under the law.
Yep.
Yeah, so it violated the 14th Amendment. Yeah.
Because there's some like you're allowed to deny service under certain conditions, but that one was ruled because it's just based on like it's not based on their actions.
Right. I mean, it would be like, I'm not going to give you a croissant because you're black.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
No, you can't do that.
That was like one of the first court cases, like Supreme Court cases that I was like aware of growing up. And I just think it's because, well, one, it was in Colorado, and two, because I'm sure my parents were talking about it, because we're a very like blue-leaning family, and so that was like, I remember like being like, what? How could he deny people a cake? Like, you know what I mean? That's so mean. And all that stuff. But it's a crazy case to think back on now.
Like, what was he... Like, and I'm sorry, I'm not... This isn't super historical. What was he trying to accomplish by saying, no, I'm not going to make you your cake?
Also, I'm sorry, money is money. And
Yeah,
you're never
that's
going to see the
real.
cake again.
That's
it's going to get eaten.
That's how I've always viewed it, is like, why wouldn't you... Like, I understand, because he was Christian, I assume. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Based off religious
I
beliefs.
assume, yeah. So it's like, why wouldn't it get the money and you don't have to deal with them anymore? So it's I don't know.
You're never going to see the cake again.
Yeah, like,
it'll be in their stomachs.
Yeah, you can disagree with that. That was always I was just like, I understand disagreeing with their lifestyle, but like they're a customer. Like that was. But anyway.
Yeah.
So now, going to transition to even more recent, specifically like anti-trans bills. Because it's become very
relevant
recently.
Yeah.
So little history. 2018, there were 2 bills passed across all 50 states, banning/targeting gender-affirming healthcare, which is,
Mm-hmm.
And then there were 4 in 2019, 24 in 2020, 40 in 2021, 35 in 2022. And the past 2 years, there was 185 in 2023 and 187 so far, according to this list, in 2024. Now it's 2025, but the list, I assume, has been updated, so we'll go with 187. But, like, that's also crazy how much of a
exponential
issue
rise,
it is
yeah.
and it's in most states. Like, there's a Colorado, California, or a few that haven't had any of these. But yeah, based on bathrooms, based on if teachers have to honor pronouns, based on a whole bunch of difference.
And I don't know if you guys saw it. There's a video from I believe a congressional hearing or a Senate hearing or whatever, where a representative, I'm blanking on her name, but it's the same woman who put the sign outside of the bathroom because there was a senator who, the first trans woman the first trans person to be elected to the government or something. And this woman, I'm blanking, I'm just going to look up her name. Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina got into some, I'm not even going to say she got into hot water because she really didn't get into trouble for it. But in a House hearing, she repeatedly said the T word. I'm not going to say it, but it's extremely the T ending in Y.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my
she
God.
said that multiple times. And then responded with, I don't care, calling herself pro-transgender rights. Again, this is not the first time that this specific senator has done something so overtly hateful. She is the same person who put a note outside of the women's bathroom. Sarah McBride.
Oh, Sarah McBride. Yes, I have heard that.
Yeah. Anyways, Nancy Mace was like, this bathroom ain't for you, girl. Not girl. This bathroom ain't for you, dude. Which is, really messed up. But yeah, just the fact that that happens with elected officials, sets an example for how to treat trans people, and it's horrible.
I don't get how, we've become so hateful. We were doing so good for a while, just as, America and in the world. And then all of a sudden they were like, just kidding. Just kidding. Hate. For everything, too. Not even just, transgender people. LGBTQ, women, people of color, immigrants, illegal and not. All of it. Makes me sad.
It's just really systemically divided.
I just saw this. Apparently the National Park Service scrubbed all mentions of transgender people from the official Stonewall website.
Excuse me.
You have to believe it.
In addition to replacing all mentions of LGBT people with LGB. So they're just completely erasing the T from...
Oh my gosh, yeah,
wow.
LGB flags instead of LGBT flags. That's crazy.
From the official Stonewall website.
Stonewall riots were literally, headed by the transgender
after we just
community.
talked about Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. Why are we isolating one specific group of this big community? That's so crazy to me. You know what? Of USA, I don't like the S. UA. You know what I mean?
Welcome to United of America.
Yeah, no. The states. Who needs them?
Oh my god.
That's
States'
crazy.
rights, my
Yeah.
Crazy.
states' wrongs, more like.
When was that published? When did you see that?
2 days ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was it is LGB flags.
Talk about historical relevance.
Yeah. Boom.
Dang.
And that's the end of the podcast.
Why history matters.
Yeah, that's so sad. What the heck? This is a depressing episode, guys.
Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah.
Trigger warning.
But then we're gonna play a game, and it'll be fun.
We'll wrap it up. We'll make it a light note at the end.
The bio of the site says before the 1960s, almost everything about living openly as a lesbian, gay, bisexual person was illegal. it doesn't even have like a or bisexual because they previously had the fourth thing listed. So they have not edited that well enough because then it's
They just
That's
deleted
crazy.
the trans
because it
part.
literally says
They
as a
didn't even
lesbian,
proofread it.
gay, bisexual person, not like or bisexual person.
my God.
Right?
That's crazy.
That's not me. Yeah. And then the Stonewall Uprising on June 28th, 1969. Good they're calling it an uprising instead of a riot. I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Is a milestone in the quest for LGBT civil rights and
Oh.
provided momentum for a movement.
A movement. A movement.
This is a government website.
This is the government website.
But I mean, they also-
NationalParkService.gov.
They recently got rid of the reproductive rights website that the government owned. Did you guys see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they completely the website that women and men could go to like learn about the reproductive rights and stuff. The government deleted it, so you can't even see it anymore.
That's
so you
crazy.
can't figure out your reproductive rights.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So if, God forbid, someone gets pregnant and doesn't want a baby.
It's harder to find your rights now. Yeah, and I mean, there's the fight against abortion, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's for a different episode.
that could be its whole own episode for real. But
So, sort of a hard left turn.
what?
We're going to talk about sports real quick. More specifically, LGBTQ athletes. And I also wanted to talk about the Gay Games, which is the Olympics for LGBTQ plus athletes.
That's its own thing.
It is its own thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And fun fact that I learned the other week, Dr. M, of whom we're very close to, has a very close friend who has competed in the Gay Games.
That's crazy.
Which is really cool. I know. I was so
Gay
hyped
Games.
when she told me. That was so awesome. But I want to talk about 3 different athletes, Renee Richards, Billie Jean King, and Glenn Burke. Billie Jean King and Renee Richards were tennis players, and Glenn Burke was a baseball player. I'm going to start with Renee Richards. So she was a pioneering transgender athlete. She was a massive tennis star, and she was one of the first openly transgender athletes to compete in any sport. There was a legal battle for her to be included in, like, playing tennis at all. She was barred from the 1976 U.S. Open, and she then sued the U.S. Tennis Association and won in 1977, which set a major precedent for trans athletes. She would go on to compete at the highest level, becoming a legend of the sport. What's interesting, though, is that nowadays she actually is sort of hesitant with including trans athletes in sports. In my notes, I have written, later in life, Richards expressed mixed views on trans women competing in women's sports, arguing for case-by-case evaluations rather than blanket acceptance.
Yeah. I saw something where it was like, she said something where like, if they transition when they're 40, it's not, but if they transition early, like there is some weird.
Yeah, I mean,
thing,
again,
yeah.
it's the picking and choosing
Yeah.
what kind of, like, statement you want to make. And so I thought that was interesting. And then you have Billie Jean King, who is also massive tennis star. She has always been like a trailblazer for gay rights and for women in sports. She was forced out of the closet in 1981 when her affair with her secretary was exposed.
Bonkers.
Yeah, but she became the first openly gay professional athlete, female athlete, excuse me, and she would go on to participate in what became known as the Battle of the Sexes against Bobby Riggs, and she won, setting a major precedent for not just women in sports, but for gay women in sports. And she continues to be a champion for LGBTQ rights, and in 2009 received the Medal of Freedom, Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama for contributions to sports, gender equality, and LGBTQ rights.
Yep.
And then Glenn Burke was the first openly gay player in the MLB. He played for the Dodgers and the A's from 1976 to 1979. And just sort of my favorite little fun fact about Glenn Burke is that he and his teammate Dusty Baker are credited with inventing the high five.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
fun.
That's really,
So
yeah.
if you've ever high-fived anyone, it's because of a gay man.
Period.
Yeah.
If I see another homophobic guy high five someone, I'm gonna.
Be like, actually.
I'm gonna like, did you know that what you just did?
Yeah, no, Billie Jean King. I'm a tennis player, so like the U.S. Open, the like whole, gosh, what's it called? The whole, not arena, the stadium, whatever the, yeah,
Crowd.
the center, like the tennis center, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's all named after her.
Wow.
So like, tennis is a lot of times very progressive in a lot of things, and I think that's one of the coolest. Just how honored she is across the sport.
Mhm. Yeah. And then the gay games are it's basically the Olympics for gay athletes, LGBTQ athletes. It was founded by Dr. Tom Waddell, who is a former Olympic decathlete. Like, decathlons are insane.
Yeah.
Don't do decathlons unless you are insane. But it was created to be an inclusive sporting event for LGBTQ plus athletes who were barred from participating in the Olympics, and the gay games focused mainly on personal bests rather than competition, which I actually really, really like. It was first held in 1982, and it was originally called the Gay Olympics, but they were like, the actual Olympic Committee was like, hey, change your name.
We have that trademarked, yeah.
Yeah. And then
You should call
so
them
yeah,
the game picks.
the game picks. I like
Yo,
that.
game picks or something.
So the inaugural event was held in San Francisco. The Olympic Committee forced the name change to the Gay Games, but the first event featured over 1,300 athletes from 12 different countries.
Damn. The Hunger Games made gay.
It is beyond expanded from 1,300 participants in 1982 to over 10,000 in
Damn,
recent editions.
That's awesome.
It's grown into one of the largest LGBTQ plus sporting and cultural events, gatherings in the whole world. And it's often used as a platform for human rights advocacy, obviously specifically LGBTQ rights advocacy, but I'm sure you'll hear about people being like pro-Palestine at stuff like that.
Period.
Is it every 4 years like the Olympics?
I believe so.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
If someone was gay and they competed in the Olympics, could they also compete in the Gay Olympics if they wanted to? Like if they just,
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't see
assume
why
so.
not.
I don't see why you couldn't if you qualified for the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And what if... No, I'm just kidding. What if they were in the Paralympics and they were in the Gay Olympics and they found a way to be in the Olympics? They could be triple. They could be a triple threat in all three of those games. Could you imagine?
I'm trying to think of like what athlete could a trans woman who doesn't have an arm who participates in discus. Like
Oh yeah, like
throwing.
some yes, yeah.
You know?
Ooh, discus would be good.
Like I'm trying to think of like
Or
what
one of the
would
like
hit
skeet shootings, or one of those.
like what would hit all
Or
the
like
requirements.
a gay track runner with one of the like metal legs.
Oh,
what I mean?
like sort of like, I mean, sorry to mention him, Oscar Pistorius,
Yeah.
who is famously known as the Blade Runner, killed his wife. Anyways,
Oh.
Not a great guy out.
No.
But hey.
but that is
Yeah.
sort of what you're thinking about.
But
I
yeah,
know.
like because they have like meets for like people that have like prosthetic legs like that
Mhm.
in like track meets and stuff. But I bet if like somebody was fast enough, they could compete in the normal
Oh, yeah.
Olympics
Oh,
too.
for
They
sure.
can qualify,
For sure.
and if they're gay, triple threat.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
That'd be really cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Run the fastest 100-meter you've ever seen, and then kiss a man.
yes, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Think about the statement that would make.
And then take your leg off and have a rest.
Start swinging it around.
So I mean, while we're talking about LGBTQ people in sports, a lot of the time the reception from fan bases are really hostile and really, really negative. Like I'm a big fan of European soccer. If
What?
you ever go to any Instagram page for any team in like England, let's say, if they post something about pride, if they post something about LGBTQ, if even one of the corner flags on the soccer field is the pride flag, or if the captain's armband that the players are wearing is the pride flag, people lose their people go insane. People say, this is woke, it's gross, I hate it. I don't know if y'all have seen Ted Lasso.
Yes. I love Ted
But
Lasso.
there is a really strong arc in that show where one of the characters is gay, but the reception from the fans, not that the fans know that he's gay, but
But they didn't even care, right?
his teammates didn't care. But there was a really explicit scene in Ted Lasso where one of his teammates gets jumps into the crowd because a fan used a slur.
Yeah. Oh my god, I do remember that.
Yeah. And it happens. It really does happen, and it has happened, and it is rare, really, really, really rare for athletes, especially soccer players, to come out and be their truest selves because of the vicious backlash that they will inevitably get.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of other places, right? Like, we're in America, so we just naturally are a lot more exposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Europe, not all the countries have legalized same-sex marriages. Like
A lot haven't.
Yeah.
Like, a lot explicitly have it illegal.
Yeah, 30 out of the 38 countries, 22 of them have it legal. So 16 don't. So almost, a little bit less than half.
I saw this like TikTok, you know, the like Animaniacs or whatever, that song that's like all the countries. She did it, but she only did all the countries that had gay marriage legal, and so she'd be like, United States, Canada, and then she would like say the different ones as she went.
That's really
And so
funny.
there would be gaps, like a 30-second gap where she couldn't say any of them, and then she'd be like, United Kingdom.
Brazil.
Yeah, literally, like she would just throw them in, and she did it so well. But
That's
I was like,
funny.
that's crazy.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I might
So
put a
good.
little clip.
Yeah,
of it,
right.
Yeah.
It was so funny though,
Right.
but it was sad. It was funnily sad.
Funnily sad.
The
It
fact
was
that
funny
she-
situationally, not.
The fact that she put in that effort for it was really funny. But then when you think about like how sad it is that there were that long of gaps in between some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dark humor.
Yeah,
It
it
is. It is good, clean, dark humor.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we go into the game?
Yeah.
do the
You want me
game.
to- okay.
The
Yeah.
game.
No.
The game.
Which came first? The first public steam railway or the Battle of Waterloo?
Beep.
Yes.
Waterloo.
Okay.
Because that's 1812 commercial railway would have been a little bit after that, I would guess.
I'm so bad with years. I came up with this game.
Yeah, this is your.
I know, this is my idea.
1814. Yeah. See, I got the year.
I'm glad we don't need to know the year.
Yeah,
though.
no,
I'm
for
just
real.
gonna. Yeah. Okay. Go.
Some of these seem too easy for you guys.
No, do it. It's okay. Whisper it in my ear
we
first,
gotta
and
boost
I'll
our
let you
egos
know.
a little bit, you know.
Which came first? Benjamin Franklin's kite experiment or the first steam engine is built?
I forgot to make my noise.
preemptively. I'm gonna say his kite. No!
You were gonna buzz next. You or just.
Well, there's two
Oh,
options.
so
Yeah, there are
just
two.
no one gets points.
No one gets
Yes,
points,
I'm
yeah.
still winning.
But I'm sorry. Oh, no.
You
I messed
did
that
what?
up.
You did
Guys,
what to
This
up?
game is so stressful.
Which came first? The War of Spanish Succession
Mhm.
or the Great Northern War?
The
Beep.
Yes.
Oh wait, I feel like, you know what, Daniel, you should go.
The Great Northern War. Yes.
You sound like you were
by
singing
how
an
much?
owl
What's
song.
the difference? That's like you got it right,
Oh,
but
bonus.
what? A couple years?
2 years, 3 months.
I don't know.
6
It's just
months
1
and 2
year. The
days.
first one's
Oh.
February 12th, 1700, and then it's 1701.
Oh,
I just
gotcha.
Duh,
they were
duh.
really close.
It was only a year and 3 months.
Yeah,
later, so
damn
my
it.
bad. Can you imagine?
Which came first? Prohibition repealed or Scopes trial?
Scope. Oh. I'm forgetting to buzz in.
Scopes trial. Get stolen. Maybe I knew that, maybe I didn't, but you should give me that answer.
What year is the Scopes trial?
1950.
No.
1919?
Nope.
When was it?
25.
Nuh-uh.
His 20th was the 1920.
And then Prohibition
Prohibition
repeal
was
was like the 30s.
1933.
Wow,
Yeah.
dang. Oh, yeah, to boost the economy during.
Mhm.
So I would have
Yep.
still gotten it right, but I thought the Scopes was in the like teens, and then I thought
assumed
the
it was,
Prohibition stuff was in the 30s. The repeal of it.
Right.
Which came first? March on Washington or Kennedy assassination?
Beef.
I got it first.
You did
I
get it
know.
first.
I was late.
He wasn't fighting
I
you.
was-
You're just like, whoa! Whoa, I got that first, Sam.
The
Chill.
March on Washington.
Good
Yes.
job.
I was trying to be so passive. I was like, dang, I lost.
You need that aggressive.
Get
I,
a
would say,
shot
I
over
get
here.
too competitive.
No, I do too. That's why my beep is louder than your guys'.
Okay, these are more. I'm gonna do the more recent ones.
Ooh.
Which came first, the Indian Ocean tsunami or Hurricane Katrina?
Beep. Indian Ocean tsunami.
Yes.
Period.
Let's go. I lived in Arkansas during Katrina. Because it rained for like 2 weeks straight. I remember that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Which came first, the first telephone call
Mm.
or the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad?
Mine was a miss. I don't know.
The Continental Railroad?
Oh, she just gone with it. She hesitated.
That was a good guess. I had no clue.
I was going to say, that was
because-
absolutely a guess.
Well, I was
I-
thinking like Thomas Edison was
No.
the telephone guy. wasn't he?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander
So what did
Graham
Thomas
Bell.
Edison
do?
do? A light bulb?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he took credit for the light bulb.
It was actually I don't.
It was actually his like team of people, and he was just like, "I'm gonna patent this," so I invented it.
What the heck? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot his name is Thomas. Like I've only heard his name being Thomas Edison. I was like, who's
The only reason I
Thomas?
know a little bit about Thomas Edison is they did a Simpsons episode about him. Just saying.
Was The Simpsons accurate? Of their
Some of The Simpsons is very accurate.
That'd be
with some
really
stuff.
funny if we did.
Let's do an episode about the history of The Simpsons.
Mhm. History of insert random. Yeah. Do micro histories of stupid stuff.
Which came first, the Japanese invasion of Manchuria or Italy tries and fails to invade?
Yeah.
She didn't finish.
Yeah.
But I know what it is.
Yeah, you got it right.
It's Manchuria.
Yeah. I assume
It-
it's
I think he's
Ethiopia.
disqualified.
I assume it was
Well,
Ethiopia.
no.
too. Jeopardy rules you cannot answer before.
Before the question has been fully asked.
Is that true? Is
Yeah,
that
Yes.
is rules? Oh, I
If
didn't.
you get buzzed,
I,
you get locked out.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sucks for you, nerd.
I'm sorry.
So this is your warning.
Yep, fair. That's fair.
I don't know if you get locked out, but I know you don't get.
You don't get to answer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Which came first, San Francisco earthquake or the first Russian Revolution?
Beep. Russian Revolution.
The earthquake was 06. When was the Russian Revolution?
Way before
Back in
that.
the day,
Oh.
19
They've
something.
been revolting since
during World War One.
No, I mean 1906. The San
No.
Francisco earthquake was 1906.
Ah,
So the Russian Revolution.
the first one was earlier than
It was
that.
way, way
okay,
before
gotcha.
Because
that.
No.
it?
1905.
That's-
Wait, it was only 1 year before
Way
that? Oh, I
before
thought it was
that.
way before that.
Right, way
all
before that.
way
I thought, like,
12
I-
months
I'm not gonna
before.
lie.
Because
I thought it was like 1700s.
Because the one I was thinking of was, I thought it was 16 was the earthquake, and I thought, oh, during World War One, Lenin took over.
The Bolshevik.
the Bolshevik, but I guess there was one before, so I just got lucky with that one. I'll be
Yeah.
completely honest.
Okay. I mean, you're
Interesting.
winning, like,
Yes!
by far winning.
Yeah.
I have like 1 point.
I also have. No, I have 2. I think.
I don't know if it like left it cold.
You want to feel
Oh, it's sticky.
Yeah, that's how it gets stuck to my forehead.
Audience, what do you think Ireland's having us touch right now?
You have to guess. It's slimy and sticky. And goes on people's faces.
Ireland, put your pants on. What are you doing?
Which came first, the fall of the Berlin Wall
Okay.
or the Iran-Contra affair?
Beep. I mean,
Yeah.
the Iran-Contra affair. Yeah.
Daniel just blows up. It's
I
like,
was gonna say, at some
this-
point, vomit will be flying out.
I'm just gonna move my computer.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it looks like the end of the episode.
Which came first, Gandhi's assassination or Israel was established as a nation?
Oh no.
Beep,
They happened in the same year.
beep. Gandhi's assassination.
Yes.
It was a little bit earlier in the year.
It was in January, huh?
It was right at the beginning.
Yes.
Because Israel at Yom Ha'atzmaut is... Sorry, I'm Israeli. Yom Ha'atzmaut is quote-unquote Independence Day, May 14th. That was 1948.
Well, I know India got... Was 1948 when they got independent? I don't remember. Somewhere around there, but I knew Gandhi was assassinated in 1948.
He was assassinated in 48, yeah. A lot of stuff.
I didn't know
happened in
when
48.
I thought...
Dr. M has a whole class on 1948.
It's a crazy...
The whole year.
That's
Really?
It is
Yeah.
when they got...
I
it's
have
a crazy
asked her
year.
so many times to send me the syllabus, and she hasn't.
She hates you.
She does.
I don't think I've ever been impressed as like favorite, but I'm always like top 3 for sure.
I'm making my way up on the Dr. C ladder. Okay, move on.
Oh, which came first? The Wright Flyer takes flight, first airplane,
Okay.
or The Great Train Robbery, world's first feature film.
Oh gosh, beep. The Great Train Robbery.
Yes.
Period.
It's literally
Oh,
the
wait.
same-
I know this one. Wait, sorry. It's the same month.
Yes.
Yeah. They're both December 1903.
Yep.
Yeah.
I literally was like, one's December 19 something, and the other one's also, but maybe it's a year. Because I knew the flight was. I think I knew the flight was 1903. I
Yeah.
thought the movie came out like 1902.
Right.
That's crazy. It's the same month. How many days apart? Do you have that?
16.
16?
That's crazy.
Oh my god. So, okay, so then the movie, one of them came out in early December, and the other one
Mhm.
happened later
Later.
December.
That's crazy.
Wait, guys, I've got a silly one. This is so topic. I was just thinking when Eden said it, I thought it was so silly. Which witch came first? The invention of the sandwich, or the discovery of witchcraft?
Oh, wait, this is a
I
good
have
one.
the answer. Yeah.
Beep. Witchcraft.
Yes.
Witchcraft is like the oldest
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Sandwiches were invented in the 1700s.
Prostitution is the oldest thing.
well, I'm not saying oldest career.
Oh.
I'm saying oldest, just general, like since religions.
Say,
existed.
honey, what are you
You
looking
were
to
so
get into?
fast on that.
Which one?
Prostitution.
Oh yeah, prostitution is the
I wrote
oldest.
a paper on prostitution. AP Gov.
Did you really?
I did.
Was it a good one?
It was.
When has Sam not written a good paper?
It was. It was on if prostitution should be illegal, decriminalized, or legal, and I said it should be decriminalized because it would allow women to feel more comfortable going to the police after assault, and also it would just be more.
And men. Men can be prostitutes.
Yes, but specifically, I was talking about a lot of
That's
women
right.
in my paper. Yeah, because that's more of the people who have to resort to it.
There's this one TikTok, I'm so sorry. There's one TikTok where he's talking and he's like, what if one day I'm like walking with my boss and like there's a pole and he goes to the other side and I'm like, sir, wait, or ma'am, women can be bosses. He just stops his story and I like pee my pants every time. Then he goes, I'm gonna stop there, and then he turns off the video.
I'm curious to listen back to that. How loud that
I was gonna say, I'm
It's
gonna have
top bars on the thing. 'cause-
I'm gonna have so
Oh,
much
shit.
fun editing this.
Which came first? Brexit or Arab Spring?
Oh. Arab Spring.
That's yeah.
By like 3 years, I think, right? The Arab Spring was 2012. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Ish.
if it was like specifically like the Brexit movement or like when they actually
Was
left.
it like it's like the Brexit vote, right?
Brexit referendum.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Because I wasn't.
Because that was like 2009, like 18 or
That's
19.
why I was hesitant because I was like,
No? What does it say?
20.
2016.
2016.
I was in 7th grade. I remember I was in.
Go figure.
I remember that
That's
was
crazy.
happening. Yeah.
All right.
What were you? You a freshman in high school?
In 2016?
Yeah.
Yes.
God, you're old.
Okay. We can keep going. You're distracting yourself with questions.
Which came first? Mussolini seized power, or the 19th Amendment was passed?
The
Oh.
Mussolini seized power.
Oh.
I just have no faith in our women getting the because like America sucks at that.
No, I agree. What was it?
It's women getting the right
Yeah.
to vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Good for them. I'm
Aw.
proud.
I would have gone
I,
with what Sam
I,
said.
I was
Well,
just
because
like
the 19th Amendment was 1920,
Mhm.
and Mussolini came to power
see I
25, 24, 23,
22.
22.
see I thought
If I kept
That's
counting,
right.
I would have gotten it eventually.
21, 22, 23.
yeah, I thought it was closer to right after World War One.
Yeah.
Real?
So.
I didn't know he was in power for that long.
Oh,
I also didn't realize he was in power for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Hitler, like everything he did, was inspired by Mussolini's rise to
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that and this is getting off topic, the way Mussolini was like killed?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
He was like hung and quartered
Mm-hmm.
in like the town plaza.
Didn't they use
center.
him as a pinata for a while too?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why Hitler killed himself, because he didn't want the same
Yes. Yeah.
fate as Mussolini.
Interesting. Anyways, okay. Last one. Winner takes it.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Whoever reads this one wins.
If there's two that have the same year but no date, but one's before the other, does that mean that it was before?
Why don't you?
Yeah, let me
say-
look. Wait, tell me the events. I'll look it up.
How
And
about- Just why don't we'll
Okay.
you say it and
Which
then we'll
came
come to a
first?
general consensus as a group.
Prohibition repealed, or Nazis come to power and Hitler becomes chancellor?
I forgot to buzz.
well, we all know it's in 33.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with prohibition because prohibition got repealed in January of 1933.
I mean,
Let me. I don't know. Let's look
Yeah,
it
let's look it
up.
up.
But also, he got elected in
He
January.
didn't get elected.
And then-
the
He
Nazis.
never ever got elected.
Well, no, the Nazis.
Fine.
The
I mean,
Nazis came to
Dr.
power.
C would.
Nazis came to
kill
power
you
in
for saying
1933, and then they redid the election in that March. Remember, so it's both in January too. December
You got a
5th,
point.
1933 is prohibition.
December? Oh, so I just got it wrong then. I got it overtly incorrect.
January 30th, 1933 is when the Nazis got power.
Okay, I got it overtly incorrect.
Well, I was gonna say Nazis. So
I
I
would've said-
feel
I
like
would've said
Sam
no-
and I win.
Because I was like, it's January of 19. Because then they
Yeah.
reheld and to get more seats in March.
Yeah.
Got 45%.
Put
and that's when they did
put the photo of the three of us when you talk about how we won, and do a photo of you with like a little clown hat and us with two kings crowns.
Ooh,
I
and
will,
like
I will do so.
and like tears.
Tears
Yeah.
Yeah.
coming from my eyes. That's gonna wrap up this episode of
Three historians walk into a bar.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Eden for being our special guest today. Yay!
Yay.
Thank you, Eden. And we will have another special guest for our next episode, and we hope you enjoyed. And yeah, stay tuned.
First subscriber that can guess our special guest gets a shout out to the next episode.
Yeah.
We don't even know who it is yet.
Give us some ideas.
Yeah, let us know who you would like to hear next time.
So we
Okay.
can really disappoint when it's just another college kid and stuff like Obama.
But then what if they want it to be a college kid and then it is Obama?
They would either way we disappoint.
Okay.
Adios.
Bye.